Smarty pants. My house. My.
What?
Wait up on your. Wait up on. And on your lap too. Oh, you're lucky we can't have the people over yet. Butthole.
Read that.
Fun.
Fuck boy.
Butthole.
Asshole.
Wife.
Oh.
Make your butt good and hard. Good and hard, should be good and soft. You're gonna be at Seattle? Oh. Oh, you're doing that. You're doing that trades. No add-ons for this game?
No.
Oh. Oh, who's that? Oh.
Go fuck yourself. Asshole.
Butthole. Get upstairs now. Play Fortnite. Now. Butthole. No butts. No pouting. No big pouty pants. Little pop out scary upstairs? Yeah. You should. You chubby. You chubby again. You chubbies.
seconds for today's dreams. And all it took. Here's an idea. Let's put the first impression second. Listen first. Support first. Love. The playoffs for those people. I love them. For those that didn't take it past the regular season. But it's okay for those 15 teams that are out. We've got some fantastic prizes to give them for participating. That's right. The Everyday 25 from Raycon. Video Raycon is revolutionizing here in the market.
Fuck you. Fuck off. I fuck your mom.
Without any of those dangling stems. Maximum comfort. Better yet, if you're not satisfied with this fine product, Raycon is a 45-day free return policy. You can save 50% off your order by going to buyraycon.com/Jewelry. Thank you guys for listening to me. And it's not just for watching TV, but for yard work, exercise, around this Everyday 25. Reliable than the needs to dictate.
I found your partner now. See? Chatting that person one. Wait, what's up? Oh, yeah.
You ruined within a fortnight. Are you ever going to not anything? Even make it come. Can you keep the grind down?
On what's up? Yes. If they want to find out how tall you are and how long your dong is too. Make it bump. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, long dong silver. Yeah. Get upstairs now. Turn us off, and carry upstairs. You're lucky. Not funny.
I have no hope that you're going to do anything right whatsoever, so you might as well dismantle. Maybe you'll be good in about 20 years on accident. At least you got a touch better. I'm not going to say we do with any different, considering how the last one went. Now let them take their small victories and look at it. The Devils have a long, long way to go. The rebuild is fallen behind by about 3 years. But there are some things that kind of be over. Some promising pieces in the core. We're not Buffalo. My own preference would be imagination that the bad season is the result of the team looking further into overhauling a scale rebuild. When you lose 16 of 18, there are no good feelings to have. But once again, with a year as bad as last, anything looks good afterwards. I won't beat the dead horse any further. Let's play do something about that old man. I know you can't. But you can try to care, right? You can't line up that one order. No penalty kill, they're doing more than enough of that. So does the turmoil on all sides. A season full of chaos and uncertainty. Only who was voting against those reputation on the league. Our heavy Panarin was threatened by Russian interest. Fearing for his family with a leave of absence to privacy politics. The group struggled to round into form, tantalizing for only weeks at a time, and evil rat comes to sabotage the team. Those who that Asian man. Pancakes helped to break the franchise. The Derek was hurt with trouble and was taken out for the rest of the season. His powerful blows in the penalty box, the NHL took matters into their own hands. Franked in $5,000. Still suspect. His story was wrote an angry letter to the editor threatening to never go to their store again unless he gets a lot of free shit. He was the only one in the executive branch that believed his own statement. And even with his schisms going, is growing impatient. And the time was right to fire everyone. And then motherfucker, you're going out. I get the team at no break of that defense, but all you had to do was fire Quinn, not everything. Jesus Christ. And the offseason brings far more questions than answers. We wonder if the Rangers will overcome and sink with a team full of grit and veteranity. The Leafs will find out if this is for the next season of all fire. But gotta get that. Some flyers will cut their vendors. I swear this shit happens every time we think Billy's going to do something. It feels like a slump. The whole thing's coming around. The youth developing a new system. We say, this is the year the flyers make themselves known. To be fair, we were right. They made themselves known as a shitty. These defense has been destroyed time and time again. Prospect after prospect being ruined under the watchful eye of Frost Street. Ivan Provorov being ruined. Travis Sanheim being ruined. Jake Ostenberg, don't get me started on how the Flyers crossed his trajectory. And then the goaltending. Remember when Billy thought their relentless blows in net were over? That's hilarious. Carter Hart didn't just regress, he plummeted into a completely different ether. I haven't seen something like this crash since the stock market in 1929. This is what happens when you put all of your eggs into one basket, Billy. You better make sure you fucking insulate them. In that defensive structure, the only sure thing happening is destruction. Major Sands tried to warn you about AV hockey. These are the results you get today. Good luck overhauling the defense of this hockey. No, that miracle run they were all as well as last year. We were all getting our pants. What? Good. After pivoting towards our rebuild, now two of their best players from the ice. Something's got to hit here, right? It did. He fell off after Kevin Lincoln and couldn't play God and carry the franchise. Even with the disappointing end, you can't say this is a bad year whatsoever. There are some intriguing pieces for the future to look at. Not just Lincoln, Suter, Burlington, Abel, Oakstrom, Howard, even Kevin Stroke ahead of the line. Thinking so far, what they up now? No, but these next few drafts should help out in this regard. You create signing the old board slowly fading away and come back in the mix. Retirement and reduction issues, but I wonder how soon this is the next 10 years. There are a lot of options they have decided. And this is a good one for things. There is no joy at Buckeye now. There is only anguish and frustration. When is it going to be our turn? When are we going to have a single score? It'll probably be over. The horror they experience next season. The others is wandering as massive resignation of the Leafs in a Game 7 at the start of the year. Looking for a package that included Master Polina, who has failed to mess with anything in Columbus. Developed O'Reilly in the team. Lost his back of the game. Veteran Nico Poise retired early on. Severe injuries to guys like Zach Werenski. Massive regression on all points of the roster, particularly with Seth Jones and goaltending. This year wasn't bad. It's only going to get worse. Now Tortorella has gone dormant. A few years after I thought he'd be gone, but his ticket was big. Glad to the pain that Jones wants out as well. With years upon years, the jackets have had to start over. They're all in here in 2019. They had to start over. Now, they have to start over. Someday they hope to find stability. There might be a better chance of them being able to work with five-star athletes like Ohio State does. Last year's probable run was a flash in the pan. Isn't it tempting if I believe that the Stars could have given us more? Even if it wasn't their fault. Jason Robertson's alertness can only do so much, and even then, that doesn't tell the whole story. Now let's still pay tribute to reasons why they went out and couldn't score much of anything. Goaltending took a significant step back. It's been harder to win games when Anton Khudobin has been literally playing God. By the time they got it together and found some form, it was too late. Nashville had escaped their cowards. Stars will go hungry tonight. There isn't much they can do to fix it. Just hope they can get healthy and regroup. There are signs they can bounce back, but I don't know if another cup run is going to be in their future. Fake me, boys. I'll give Eiserman credit for that.
These days, bridges clean their water systems. Nanotechnology.
Huge leasing of the capital. Well, for Ben, at least I can say this. They've got to be better. It was from the absolute nadir, but it's still better than nothing. And promising prospects will hopefully do better than the last Holland batch has done at this level. I think their bad power play numbers reinforce the urgency to fix this matter. Their top active scorer was Adam Ernie, and Philip Kronek had the most points on the team. That's all that needs to be said. Even then, something incredible is happening in Detroit. Jeff Blashill is still the head coach. In a league where people can be hired and fired in the span of 15 minutes, the Wings have stayed uncharacteristically loyal to their man. You must think that hot streak they went on at the end of the year was a sign of progress. If you you could call it a hot streak. It was more like a we don't suck, thank God thing. At the very least, they made an improvement by parting ways with Dan Milestone. Anyone who has bore witness to that man coach understands how this is a positive. He managed the power play. That's all that needs to be said. Failure. Absolute failure. It's all this organization is. How many times must you try the same things over and over again, yet expect different results? So far too often, Calgary has done nothing to address the real issues on the team. It came to a head this year. No, they just have to double down on the past by bringing in Daryl Sutter to coach. It'll be fine, even though they have massive consistency issues and still can't break ground in the North. They missed it so hard they couldn't assert themselves at the slow table. More underachieving. It's absolute insanity. Enough is enough. You tried to keep the North tax of plywood on a monthly dam and predictably failed. Now you're going to do it my way. You ready for my proposal? Bye-bye Gaudreau. Bye-bye Monahan. Bye-bye Giordano. I have 6 years of evidence to prove this is the right course of action. Calgary has not and will not go deep in the playoffs with this score. You must overhaul it. This team needs a shake-up in a serious way. Rocktree Living himself has gone on record saying that the Flames need to make changes. I'd start with the GM himself first, and then keep going. Maybe then they'll get different results. Sometimes the best moves for a team are made out of necessity. At the beginning of the year, the Senators were a literal no man's land. Every single offseason acquisition has blown up in their faces, marketing them back to their expansion days. Utility abounds, but thankfully they took it personally. Things got better. A bit better. In a desperate situation, the Senators decided to play the youth. Nothing to lose with how bad they are, and now they finally have some hope for the future. A burgeoning core, emerging talent, skill on display throughout the lineup, a promising netminder in Philip Gustafson. They may make the playoffs in the next few years if they're lucky. Even older, they could have a greater upside than the Montreal Canadiens. The run they had might be because they're in the North, but with no Barron on the way back, I'll take it. Now, if only you could release team owners, I'd have more optimism about them. Stop me if you've heard this one. Gene Melnick, meddling and shitty, has no experience in and throwing up big shit when he doesn't get his way. I'm just waiting for the inevitable lawsuit against the NHL just for the sake of it. When I was looking at this team before the season, I thought the Canucks would finally take that next step and become legit and close again. All last season, after Kessel playing out of his mind, the impressive youth, it was easy to think they did something besides spew hot oil on the ice. This is how Jim Benning has been able to fail upwards over the years. Puts on an appearance of confidence, yet when you go to test drive the damn car, it breaks down and explodes when making the first turn. The same issue with the travesty for Vancouver is likely saying that region's real estate is vastly overpriced. I know what the excuse is going to be. Overpriced, that's all I need is 5 more years and we can get back to the top. No, you were hot garbage long before the COVID outbreak. Dr. Demko can't save everything. Ray Colby can't save anything. Twin Hughes couldn't defend against the cut. Jake Bernan's only offensive moves were against women. It leads to a pure shit show that smells as vile as the West Coast seaports. I want to know what's fun. You'd think this regression would lead to changes, but nope. Benning and Green are staying put. How the fuck is Jim Benning still here? Because he feels that he needs to be aggressive in the offseason? Yes, because Benning doing that hasn't totally damaged the team beyond repair before, hasn't it? Normally for a rebuilding team, I would try to highlight the positives of what they're doing. The strides they're trying to make. I'm more forgiving towards them than I should be, because they've at least admitted when they need to start fresh after the window is slammed shut. The Anaheim Ducks are not one of these teams. I think they drastically underachieved this season. With all of the talent that's on this roster, there is no way they should be struggling to score as badly as they have. You think that Honda Center was in the Sahara Desert, there's a drought in there. Look at their power play. Normally, I just point and laugh, but a season tally of sub 9%. I've shattered the fucking record set over 20 years ago. What is Higgins doing? Did he learn anything from Edmonton? Is it the players? Is it how they shower? What the hell is it? Yes, there's some good talent on the way as well, but more of it is heading out. Ryan Kessel in the free agent and might be gone. Ryan Miller is now the greatest goaltender to ever make a cup final, not named Tuco. Not to mention the sad Twilight of David Mack. These next few months will be crucial, especially with the total lack of sync on the team. John can't carry them forever. This season's crucial. No, I got a lot of flack for all I know today. You're being too hard on them. They may have made a ton of mistakes, but they're finally on the right track. The rest of their division is giving way to let them have the right to be destroyed by Colorado or man still has issues scoring goals. And they cost Rick Duckett his job. There was no pandemic to save them like last year. There are still too many questions to take them serious. But they successfully... It's going to be a rough year for the Jackets. A fantastic time is approaching, my friends. The NHL season is beginning. 82 games of speed and adrenaline. And best of all, fans will be allowed back in at every stadium. Thank God there won't be any more soulless cameras with a hockey game being played in them. Knock on wood. The resale market is buzzing with activity nowadays. And with SeatGeek, they can help ensure you aren't getting shafted by high prices. Their app needs little introduction. It sorts all tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale to gauge the value of the sale. The higher the score, the better the deal. You can get views from where you'll be sitting before you buy. You can even get scanned in the games on the app itself. And as always, don't forget to use the code word FREE to save $20 off your first purchase. I've always been an advocate for watching hockey in person. It's an atmosphere that television can't convey. Now may be the chance to see for yourself. If you're willing to take the plunge, do it with the seat. And remember to thank them for sponsoring this video. Forgot to say that there are 32 teams to preview, didn't I? That'd be a good thing to talk about in this video, right? Anaheim, wake up. Did you seriously sleep all off-season? Have you guys done anything to address the issues on the team? Wake up to take a piss, sign Ryan Kessel for another round and go back to bed. Whatever happened to being proactive? You have another goalie to replace Ryan Miller? The game plan is to hope the youth develops and run on a back before sleep? I like being lazy too, but the Ducks have far too many concerns to do this. At least we'll get to see Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale for a full season. Or Dallas Aiken somehow ruins them. Seems to be the case for a huge chunk of their prospects so far. Have you ever seen the end of Terminator 3? It's a forgettable movie, I know, but in the end everything is nuked to hell, cementing the rise of Skynet. Skynet must have gotten the nuclear gun to Arizona's arsenal. The whole team was collapsed from the war base. They had to do it too. The French playoff contenders and John Jacob dug an irreparable hole with this snake oil version of analytics. Ironically, they did what Jacob did and took on a bunch of terrible contracts for first and second round picks. They also got out of some really awful contracts of their own, so that's a plus for them. It's going to be an ugly year for the O's. And it might get uglier. Team's move to Glendale has been a disaster that has done nothing but bleed hundreds of millions of dollars. Being an endless money, Big Glendale has had enough of this kicking out their delinquent tenant after this season. The O's say they want to stay in Arizona, and they're trying the Tempe option again. All $1.7 billion of it. Should have heard with the municipality, you say. You know where else they tried this? Glendale. Good luck with that. The run seems so far away these days. Despite remaining relatively stable, this is a year of flux for the Blues. More pieces of the core and David Tracy and Tuukka Rask are gone. And the potential of losing Patrice Bergeron after this year is still a possibility. Boston has tried many pieces and things to solve the awful production from the bottom six. Besides little blips on the radar, all attempts have failed. Excluding Austin McAvoy, where's the future core coming from? Bringing back Taylor Hall was a plus, but a lot of their draft picks have either been traded away or haven't panned out. They've splurged on bottom six options to hopefully stem the tide, but this is patching up a temporary problem. When the Hallmark gets this shit together, the goaltending should be sound for a while. But that core is only getting older and continuing to fade away. This is a crucial year for them. Not too many will feel bad if they fall off, especially in Toronto. Even as Boston feels distraught about their current situation, they have one thing that keeps them warm at night. They are the Buffalo Sabres. What a fucking terrible organization. Whenever you think things can't go lower for them, they not only drop the bar, they transport it beneath the ground. The situation with Jack Eichel has reached an impasse. The Cold War has only grown colder as Buffalo demands too much for a guy who was injury concerned. Eichel once had surgery to fix. But the Sabres are useful to take risks. They want him to have a different type of surgery that will still leave him in pain. Unsurprisingly, nothing was done by either side but shitting back. So let me get this straight. Eichel is visibly injured. He arrived to his physical, and the Sabres use a surprise Pikachu face when he fails it? call-grade organizations buffaloed up the noble movement strip cycle of the captaincy. Incredible. They tanked his trade value so much that he's a pittance of his power. Sabres wouldn't give out his medical info to prospective suitors. What the fuck? No wonder why this team's gutting everything and losing Levis Allmark for nothing. Fuck this team and fucked up a goal. I wouldn't trust him to wait tables, let alone run sports franchises. You know what I think of Calgary. They must overhaul their core if they want any chance of success in this club. Even then, little has changed. There were tweaks, but not much else. Mark Giordano is gone, but that was just because of the expansion draft. The effort to adapt the team to hard-nosed, Daryl Sutter hockey, they brought in the quickie types that meant well in the locker room. Eric Branson, Tyler Pitlick, Nikita Zadorov, and Blake Holman. I love Blake Holman, but was he really the right guy to pick up for a team that's accomplished nothing? Be thankful the Pacific Division is insanely weak, since there's little that has been confident in their ability at the next level. Maybe this will be the year reality smacks them in the face. Johnny Hockey is a free agent after this season, you know. It was a really fucked up offense from Carolina. The one thing they should have done is not panic and change living. I'm a fucking jinx. It shows a deep overhaul for reasons. Even that? The entire goaltending core has been replaced by high-risk injury-prone talent. Lucky Hamilton unable to be afforded and Jake being replaced by literal gangsters. Jeff pieces shuffling like a deck of cards. Strangest move was choosing violence. You didn't want to pay Alex Nedeljkovic as a Calder nominee, yet you throw $6.15 million per year at Jesperi Kotkaniemi as a toll booth to get back in Montreal? Don't get me wrong, he had a great bowl season, but to simply leave him on the wing? His failure to thrive in the regular season? It's not a snarky statement. I still think the Hurricanes have talent, but God. You're going back to Atlanta? He made some baffling moves down there, too. Keep it in reference. Isn't it a bad thing that I'm more interested to see the fallout of the 2010 sex abuse scandal than I am with that team this season? The NHL is trying to bury this thing so fucking hard, and I don't blame them for it. Did Stan Bowman and those around him know about this back when it happened? The fans that wanted him gone a few years ago may finally get their wish. Do you also remember when the Blackhawks said they were rebuilding last year? About how it was going to be long and grueling like this investigation? That was also allowed. Garage burnt down apparently has them thinking it's time to buy again. No, Stan, that's not a rebuild, that's a retool. Does the quote-unquote rebuilding team bring in Tyler Ducks and Marc-Andre Fleury and trade heaven and earth for Seth Jones? They give him a ghastly bad contract for the season he had? I get it, Captain Intangibles and Kirby Doc will be back, but he's still have a bit to go before you're true contender. Watch me be wrong now that I said that. The regular season means nothing to the Avalanche at this point. This time is merely for tuning up, staying healthy, and bolstering lost depth with new pieces. The goal, once again, is in playoff time. They need to make it past the second round lest they become the new Washington Capitals team. It's not a dead sentence, but I'd rather that not happen to them. They already had Philip Grubauer be poached away by Seattle, but Darcy Kemper should be a good replacement. But what about Francois? Could he manage to stay healthy for longer than a week? The team continued to develop with their young core. Del McCarr got extended to a handsome contract, but Nathan McKinnon's going to be 2 for 1 as well. Those will be the main questions. Ones that will be addressed in time. It's going to be a rough year for the Cavs. The bit of the last decade, Columbus is being forced to start over. The coaching staff said Jones traded for a heavy ransom, big extensions given out to Orensky, Martinez, and Boone Jenner to keep them around. Maybe Patrick Laine can do something besides being an empty calorie scorer under a coach that might back with us. Bringing Yakov Borzek back up out there? There's hopes and prayers for them right now, and let's be real, that doesn't turn out well in most cases. To protect others during a fireworks accident. Might have been a regular NHL goalie this season. What a fucking shame he's gone. Live on in Elvis's newborn son. Despite their unprecedented cup run a year ago, I still have far more questions than answers about the Stars and their long-term goals. This team is old. Their average age is around 30, which is ancient in NHL standards. Not to mention a good chunk of that core is attempting to return from major injuries. We have no idea if Ben Bishop is going to play this year. Somehow manages to come back. What do they do with Brady Holtby or Madovic? I thought they were going to trade Madovic, but now they apparently aren't. This isn't even a good problem to have. It's a long chance. Probably going to be the same as last year. Dallas will probably be Dallas things as defense leads the way and they hopefully score more than 2 goals a game. Comes with Ryan Suter on a 4-year deal even. 4 years to 36. Another year of one of the deepest rebuilds since Smith arrived on the team in the 80s. The good news is that almost all of the terrible contracts from the Holland era are now off the roster. The buyouts the only remnants of a past-dated empire. For now, though, a brighter future seems to be arising. One where the Astros plan coaches unwanted talent like Steve Suter and Alex Nedokiewicz from the scrap heap. This team doesn't assume to be anything notable. They're still developing themselves and their identity. They made some strides in the second half of last season, but the main storylines are in debut. Moritz Seider has been hyped. They'll be expected to take a strong role right away. Other prospects will be asked to take on greater roles. They'll be looking to surprise many. The feeling up front is going to be out for this. It should have been good for the early stretch. Last year's failure and failures before are irrelevant. The Oilers are going to bring shit back to the 80s. Endless party with 4 solid white lines. Kevin Lowe's going to have his jersey hanging from the rafters, so it'll help distract that this team has questions in depth and deep defense. They lost down amongst the Seattle and exiled Ethan Bear to Carolina. And replaced them with Cody Cece and Duncan G. Sorry, I couldn't contain my contempt for how much everyone will chant the new slogan. Everyone runs on Duncan, including his complaints of being forced to be jacked. Duncan, you're back in Canada. They're the fucking Gestapo when it comes to public health. Maybe they can force you to return to prime form as well. Edmonton may have been a punchline this offseason, and Scott Archibald may be out with myocarditis, but the 80s reigns supreme. That includes a lot of sex the team into the modern day. Poor McDavid and Draisaitl. They're turning into the Trout and O'Connor of the NHL. Can this team ever win anything competitive? Perhaps if they don't run into Tampa Bay again. Otherwise, it's just general frustration of perpetual futility. The offseason wasn't anything drastic, but major gambles were made on short-term production of Sam Bennett and Brandon Montour. The Panthers are very good, and should be a contender, especially on paper. This calls for a legend to appear from the wilderness. Jumbo Joe. His door to a rape ending has brought him to sunrise, which might be the sunset of his career. A real issue for Florida line is such a fuck off. That was predates until they voted on my handsome extension for his service. Well-deserved and solves a major concern. Just win a goddamn series, please. Then we'll talk further at it. The rebuild is showing signs of improvement, but this is the year where we'll have to see those strides translate on the results sheet. LA knows this. They didn't go out and grab Philip Deneau for nothing. They think they can do it. Kopitar can still carry the franchise. Drew Doughty is still there. Cal Peterson is outstanding in net. The farm system is incredible and intriguing. You can see the intrigue with bad contract after bad contract finally coming off the books. The Pacific Division is ripe for the taking. And with a little luck, the Kings can sneak into the playoffs if all things align. The hockey gods might have other plans, though. Which Byfield is going to be a long term. Don't tell me this is a moment. He went down to the wire. And they've been calling for heads if they fail, but Kirill Kaprizov did not retreat back to Russia. Re-signed by the Wild at the 11th hour, guaranteeing his analyzing skill walling us for 5 more years. Congratulations, Bulgaria, you get to keep your job. For now. The end of a disappointing era with Maurice Shooter gone. That void will be felt in the locker room and salary cap. Team defense has been overhauled as a result. The likes of John Merrill, Dmitry Kulikov, and Alex Nolikov. You can just feel the downgrade from what they once had. Maybe in this time frame, they can find a center that can take a face-off. Better hope Cam Talbot can go back to 2017 Oilers former out is going to be Kaprizov imitating Simmons. Last year was their shot. You may have been an easy road to the cup final, but you have to make it count if you get there. The Canadian mistake. Fallout has been unfortunate. Mark Bergevin's gambler's mentality finally managed to fight him in the end. Do you all remember when he tried to steal the National League a few years ago? Carolina wanted their pound of flesh. They came in the form of one of their best coaching performances in a very many years. He couldn't actually offer to the captain, sir. Now he's gone for a first and third round game. A scramble may acquire Christian Dvorak from Arizona for a rich sum, but there are so many issues to address. Montreal lost significant talent in the offseason. And not just in free agency. Jay Weber may never play hockey again. Gary Price has taken a leave of absence to deal with his mental. They exhausted their reserves for that cup run, and now that tragedy will be unfolding. Can't say Toronto necessarily sympathizes with that fight. We all saw it for the past few seasons. Predators weren't going to win anything significant with it for a step. Painful as it may seem, Nashville knew it. They took efforts to overhaul their roster. Guys like Ellis, Darvinson, Johnson, and Rene have still part. New faces will be expected to take the reign. Trades are not important. Fred wants to do the same thing that they have done for years. Rely on elite goaltending and get just enough offensive runs to keep them competitive. Jose Saros will have to stand alone again. You'd be surprised how important this year is to Nashville. Philip Forsberg and Matthias Ekholm will be free agents after the season. The fast start might mean the end of the Smashville as we know it. Will they be too good right now after that Stallone? Normally rebuilding a rebuild will be seen with scorn and snark, but the Devils have a smart and efficient problem. Both of their young core, they have unique pieces of relative value. So much Qatar is a toy for Hischier too. Justin Bernier to Wade Blackwood in times of absence. And two new faces of the defense. Dougie Henry. Considering the money that was being thrown around in the defenders this offseason, getting him for only that sum is huge. Freed up facial and the youngins will demand raises. It will hopefully be the kind after a playoff appearance. They're outsiders. They may not be fully ready for a push, but the NHL demands results. The Devils know what happens when they aren't fulfilled. We just had it happen 2 years ago. We were waiting for a bit. They said they had signed some guys, but weeks had passed without any officiality. Now we can finally say Palmieri, Sadikas, Montpellier, and Sorokin will be back in the long term. It's all but a formality since it was the worst-kept secret since Seattle's expansion draft days. The parade of former Devils continues on with Zach Parise brought in after Minnesota exile. Ironically, on the team that Zach played on after he left Minnesota. Will it be enough to finally get the Isles over the hump? It's gone very close over the past few seasons, but that new arena does seem to be legitimate. Just saying a cup run helps out with that. Oh, who am I kidding? A real story is unfolding. An old legend is coming home. That's right. Zdeno Chara. Somewhere Mike Milbury is punching air as he can't have him as a throw-in for Alexei Yashin again. Not surprised this year is more than he's going for another round in the NHL. Dr. Atlantic has devised his doing scheme. His new contraption will finally stop that pesky headlong game Wilson once and for all. To overcompensate on great demands, he gives himself a promotion. Mark Clay could throw on a 10-act contract. Sammy Clay, Derek Minority, and Ryan Reeves. These men will stop that dastardly Wilson in his tracks. As long as Reeves doesn't get injured long term. This is obviously Thomas' fault. Despite the emphasis on grit this offseason, the talent on the team is undeniable. And then finally mentioned is something great though. Gerard Gallant is an excellent coach, also good at potentially stopping Wilson. Should instill more confidence than the last man behind the bench. The ball is in your court, Rangers. Don't waste the opportunity. The Rangers seem to feel the same about Vitaly Kravtsov. Quite shocking that he's missed from being sent down, isn't it? It doesn't matter if they haven't accomplished anything. Jeff Dorian has been greeted from the heavens. The Senators' rebuild is over. He had a strong second half last year playing slumping Canadian teams, but none of that matters. Look at the young talent that will likely be gone in 5 years. There is just so much of it. They extended players that don't have to be paid a signing bonus. Perfect for trading if things go sour to save nothing money. When do we tell them that they can't play Buffalo every single game? So how are they going to fuck this person anymore up? Ottawa and Logan Brown had enough of a schism that he was traded to St. Louis. And that's that day for Christmas for a minute. Sure, maybe they could manage to pay Brady a couple reasonable salary. So you're telling me Big actually did it? Probably knows nothing on this ball, but I'm surprised. Bigger Comet would have fucked this up. Players are a weird team behavior. Expect them to take. Well, they suddenly realize that potential will become a well-rounded team. There's little expected of them this year, so I'm under the impression that they do well, but that will depend on a few things. The overall team defense will have to be more than big names like D'Angelo Ellis and Rich Alliance. Sam Atkinson will have to replace Younger Forrest Atkinson and Connor. Carter Hart lost the group last year's nightmare season was an aberration. That doesn't include Martin Jones, who's also dealing with several nightmare seasons. Even though Solon Patrick surprisingly didn't get injured as he was traded, the Flyers still have much to prove, whether or not they succeed is anyone's guess. They fail will likely be joking just metal painkillers to the fan base. Fortunate half of his players. I've talked about this before, but this year might prove it. This may be the beginning of the end. Look past the surface of the team and significant cracks are showing in the foundation. Center depth is at its worst in a decade. Sidney Crosby is out with a wrist injury for a season. Kenny Malkin had surgery back in May and is out long term. The former took a blow in the expansion draft and little is available to replace him. The Singari somehow wasn't run out of town by Monza and re-entered. Did fire the goalie coach though. Even if Jory can rebound from that horrendous playoff last year, there are big questions to ask. Contracts of small people like Terry, Ryan, Rust, and Jeff Cutter are all expiring after this season. They'll probably want to keep the core around, but what happens if they pull the shit? You'd be getting another rebuild with a team of hopefully even under front of moving. This is truly it. I'll be sinking to the bottom of the sea with my cups and I'll be useless, but it's all a formality at this point. More surprising to me that Vladimir Tarasenko is still a St. Louis Blue. All signs are pointing to him being moved, but either team's fault in the price or Tarasenko had a change of heart. They did get nice weapons to help him out with Pavel Buchnevich and Brandon Stott, but this team screams back to Blue teams of the past. Unremarkable and average. So far, once again, there'll be more incredible efforts from the likes of Binnington, especially if pieces like McDonough are gone. It's not like they're gonna die. They'll still compete for a playoff spot, but the days of Cup glory making a high series will begin. You had your moment in the sun, now you get to be in anguish for another 50 years. They traded their double magic to the Cardinals for future considerations. Those considerations were hopefully not promoting Peter Chiarelli to a position of power. San Jose, you're gonna need a bigger boat to deal with this cancer. The Sharks now attacking people with Nathan, the Bender King. Really thought he had straightened up over there, you know that? This summer has not only been a nightmare for the team, but it has me wondering if he plays in this league again. Allegations from his ex-wife of neglect of fatherly duty at best. Worst case scenario, he's a wife-beating piece of shit. Continued bankruptcy headaches that still have him in limbo. A bigger distraction in the locker room than those terrible contracts dangling over Doug Wilson's head. Rumors of forging his COVID vaccination card. Kane has become malignant again. Wilson has arranged surgery to remove this tumor from their body. Vander, I'd start learning Russian if I were you. It might be the only way you play professional. Sharks, welcome to hell. It'll be a torment-causing anguish 8 years at a time. Oh yes, until my turtle might want out of this shit as well. I found it down big night circle. A new franchise. It's not like it was in the olden days where people were expected to suck more ass than a porn star 3 years ahead. This is the time where they can be competitive. Vegas showed us this a few years ago. Same would be expected for Seattle. They're nothing mind-blowing on paper, but they remind me of the New York Islanders in their construction. Quality depth on all 4 lines with excellent team defense and goaltending to back it up. They probably won't blow anyone away, but they have the potential to be an efficient unit. Most of the time without being devastating, if they have to learn from its mistakes and villains. Best case scenario, especially in the Pacific, you're in a playoff spot. No pressure though, boys. You only have to reach the cup final to match Vegas. The lightning machine keeps rolling along. A massive cap squeeze was on the docket for them this offseason. But they impressively managed to get out of it without giving up any key pieces. Thank you, Brent Negro's contract. They'll miss some of their old players, sure, but the farm system has been ripening enough that they should be able to be replaced without skipping a beat. There's also a Corey Perry here and his relentless range chase around North America after coming up short twice. Can't beat them, join them. I expect nothing less than regular season dominance barring mass catastrophe. Man can dream of it, but it's doubtful. I don't want to hear a goddamn word about how each man thinks this is the year they're going to win the cup. I give 0 fucks about how Marner, Matthews, and Tavares are in the best shape of their lives. I don't care that Josh Osang and Michael Bunting are the greatest things since sliced bread. Brand new Peter Mrazek and depth pieces? Fuck it. I want nothing to do with the Maple Leafs until they win 4 games in the playoffs. Leafs fans aren't the only ones getting impatient with their lack of success. I am as well. Wake me in April. Jim Benning and aggressiveness are 2 things that could cause many to shit their pants. And for very good reason. It's usually ended in disaster for Vancouver. Well, if you don't succeed the first time, try and try again because eventually the score bank will fit to the round hole. The defensive core added to in the offseason may have huge questions and seem to be terrible contracts, but you can't just not try. Oliver Ekman, Larson, and Tucker Pullman will work for like a week and then probably become shit contracts they can't move. They did sign Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes. Bummer no one offered Peter Pettersson, but then the breaks of the old boys love him. Perhaps some... good. I usually don't do reaction to everyone and the yeah, I was told by my staff that security that I want to we're going to launch this trailer and we're going to see my reaction on possibly and give my as we go. I'm expecting the physical Pokemon Sleep the Pokemon Unite will be again the next time that I really care about. But, oh, happy Pokemon Day, by the way. I can't believe it's been 6 years. I can't believe Pokemon that long. I've been playing this game because the heck I don't know. That stutter, it's just that's pretty cool. Oh no, I won't. Sorry. I love Pokemon, but I just don't care about Pokemon. I'm sorry, I do not care. I do not care. I do not care. I'm not apologetic. That's right. This is like you, but I mean, again, I also don't really care about this here, but I'm not going to that. I've always wanted to get this game right. This game actually is I definitely want to do it, and I like the little cafe there, stuff like that, a little yeah. I actually okay. But I will a lot of so good. That's what I think about how I will answer things with you know, I'd be hyped about that. I'd be hyped about it. You guys are so yeah, now they have like this is they have the Elder sounds very, very happy about it. I feel I do like Pokemon Unite. Yeah, had it not been for my video, I probably would have never gotten it. I feel like the fact that I actually think I feel like doing it all a while. That's what I do not know the exact location right now. That's a pretty interesting ability. That's a really, really interesting action. You can, like, you're basically, like, in charge of, like, a lot of your, like, a lot of other no. Oh, you're out of oh, okay, cool. Nice. Yes. I can put it on that. Dude, sweet. Where we going? It's the shape of the event. Yeah, this is the shape of the event. Right on. Cool. I'll go wait for this. I'll throw it back. Cool. And this is the actual event. That's what happens. And it isn't going to be some shitty mystery gift. It won't be a mystery gift. It's going to be an actual event that they're bringing back. Okay, good. I'm happy that they're doing that. We needed this. No mystery gift. Space. Well, technical mystery gift, probably for the kid whether that's the actual event itself. This is going to be just like how I got it when I went to Toys R Us back today. For sure.
More than 20 million people use Reddit every day to improve their writing. You can use it on your computer or your phone. Every important word, rarely ever
Fuck this.
clarity, engagement, and delivery. Elevate your cover letter from good to great. You can help word choice, like for instance, catch the higher factors of attention.
You know, like I always tell you guys, I love these movies over our back. Software update. Oh God. What is this update entail? Oh, what? No. Okay. That's cool, man. Detective Pikachu 2? Live action Pokemon movie? Okay. Is this Detective Pikachu 2? What the fuck? This is not good. I should like this guy. Let's try. What the? What is it? You know? Choppy. Y'all got a little bit of work to do. What? Is this Sword and Shield DLC? No, this looks like a brand new game. Talos Remake. Wait, is this based in Aussie? Is this Australia that this game is based on? Dude, no! That's it. That grass started. That's mine. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet? Gen 9? Already? Oh my god, Gen 9. Oh dude, that... Yeah, that creeps up on really, really fast. Yeah, that grass starter, I don't know what the name of it is, but that grass starter, its evolution line better not be shitty or I'll be more to it. Because that grass starter has the potential to be one of the best starters of all time. It just has to be done in the right fashion. They better not fuck it up like how they did with Xbox. Or I'm going to be a Anyway, so that was my reaction. I need to go call my editor and we can go talk to her about it. So, yeah, I'll talk to y'all in a bit. So when I bring up the Philadelphia Flyers, what theories do you have? It's about the organization. Oh, shut up. Be relevant again. Jesse, similar thoughts, feelings? Go Gritty. Okay, yeah, there you go. He is the most likable part about the Flyers right now. I guess I'm sick of
like his 1,000th game with the Flyers, and then potentially be traded after. However, interestingly, it's been reported that it won't kill him if he doesn't make it and he gets traded before that. But you gotta think it goes to 1,000 games, right? Like, even if you're the Flyers, like, listen, I'll do the deal just on March 18th. I'm not doing that. 100%. Like, there's no way he gets traded to a team, second game, this is a 1,000th, they got a committee ceremony for the new guy. It won't feel the same. That should be your send-off. That should be your retirement party, you know? Yeah.
So here's, I want to see if any of you remember this. The year the Leafs finished last on purpose. Yeah. What players they acquired.
I know this.
Yeah. You do? Yeah. Played the 1,000th game of the Leafs, and they got the silver stick that everyone does when they play their 1,000th game. And everyone in the building has a resounding vibe of who cares. Do you remember the player?
Eric Brewer.
Eric Brewer, yeah. Good one.
And I follow Eric Brewer because he's one of those guys that I always used to pick up in fantasy draft things. Because like in the NHL, like when you do like a fantasy, what do they call that? Do they call that a fantasy draft in NHL when you just draft your own team out of all the NHL players? I think so, yeah. So I used to, because the Leafs was so bad, and I didn't really like any of the players of the Leafs for a little while there. There'd be like a couple guys who were like, yeah, he's like cool, I guess. But like, I used to just redraft the whole NHL every time. And Eric Brewer was the guy I would pick up because he was like, remember when the players just like, they were either six in or they would just like a threesome?
Yeah, they were enormous.
Yeah, Eric Brewer was always that guy who had the hammer next to David, he would strike people. Yeah, and I remember when he got him, I was like, that's kind of cool, but it sucks.
So I was wrong. That was 2014-15, and he actually played for 3 teams. So there was Tampa who he was there for several seasons, and that would have been cool. He played 9 games for the Anaheim Ducks and 18 games for the shitty, and very, very shitty Leafs.
There are actually, I just Googled it, there are pictures of Eric Brewer in a Leafs jersey somehow.
It's his picture on Hockey TV.
Is it?
That makes him look so upset.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? It might actually be a life uniform.
Wow. Eric Brewer is also, what are these shots? Blocking a shot. He came to the Toronto Maple Leafs and actually blocked a shot. How about that?
Yeah, wait.
I'm telling you, Drew's got to stick around. Drew's got to stick around. I need to stick around. Yeah. Now, so here's the other player on the Philadelphia Flyers who make you guys feel something, okay? About the Flyers. You can do it. Ooh, tomato. There's a player on the Philadelphia Flyers who's been around a lot longer than you. How many games has Rasmus Ristolainen played?
You mean in
the NHL?
Yeah, they're not for the Flyers. He just got
No, it's good.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of where he's drafted. 500. Okay? Rasmus Ristolainen has played 600 games in the NHL.
Wow. I was going to say 600. Dude, how many? But I wanted to be an asshole. Yeah, idiots.
Rasmus Ristolainen. How many games Rasmus Ristolainen played in the playoffs?
Oh, zero games.
Yeah. So,
Jake O'Meester.
there's a guy, I think, and apparently there's this discussion with Flyers management. He wants to go and play in the playoffs. And I think they're going to try to grant that request.
For what?
Oh! What do you get back in return? I don't know. They gave up a lot together.
Yeah. Here, can I go through that? So, the Flyers for a team that's very shitty. Usually, if a team that's very shitty is very shitty, you want to look at their cap-friendly page and go, gosh, look at all those things. Well, the Flyers this year are missing a second rounder. So, do we know why they're missing a second rounder?
That's right.
Nope. The answer is not Shane Gostisbehere.
They just throw it in as a sweetener?
A second and a 7 plus Shane Gostisbehere for future considerations.
Oh, what did they give up for Ryan Ellis?
That is a good good question, and I will look that up in a minute. But the Rasmus Ristolainen trade, which was sending it, bro, it's so fucking bad. And the fact that they're already home to shoot is unbelievable. 2021 first round pick, 14th overall, which the Sabres used on Zach Rosen. And 2023 second round pick. Jeez. God, that's tough. Let me try to find Ryan Allen.
Yeah, that's, and Hag is the second round pick, right? So that's 2 seconds and a first for Ristolainen. It's pretty bad, that all that.
That is really bad. Stop that. Knock that off right now. Okay, here.
27-year-old second round pick. So
Ryan Ellis for Philippe Myers and Nolan Patrick. Nolan Patrick, they picked second overall in 2017. Okay. All right. And, you know, with Ellis, it was full cost, right?
Listen, if the Flyers had had that defensive core about 4 years ago, it would have been horrible. Dude, like Ryan Ellis had that.
Stop letting Chuck Fletcher spend your money. Stop. When will that memo go out? Stop letting Chuck Fletcher spend your money. He doesn't know how.
I made the playoffs every year under Chuck Fletcher. Every year. Every year. They got that playoff team revenue every year.
Oh yeah, and everyone's just like, I have Duke make playoffs every year. Yeah, that's the neighborhood around him. That's definitely the neighborhood around the league, right? Did they make the playoffs every year?
Yeah, everybody's good for that. Everybody's good for that. Yeah, everybody's happy with that. That's all we need to make playoffs. No!
For the next team who hired Fletcher, my question is, why?
Because of you think they're good. Knock it off and get a break.
Not him. Listen, at this point, you know, 41, et cetera. What is the saying for the third time? Only a third time you're a fucking moron? Stop letting this guy spend your money. Stop.
Do we need a t-shirt that says, only a third time you're a fucking moron?
Only a third time I'm a fucking moron. Like,
That's it.
So, money, you're a furnace, and everyone goes, we don't know about that. Yeah. Give Chuck Fletcher to his small market protection someone and follows them around with a camera crew for a year. Nice. When it gets 6 feet on, the Parise and Suter contracts. What are you doing? What are you doing letting them spend your money?
I can't wait till the Chuck Fletcher Arizona Coyotes take the ice at ASU next year.
And they hand him $46. He's like, oh, like, what do I get for him? They're like, no, this is for players. And he's fucked.
The Nashville Predators have to re-sign Phil Force, or just going to be interested in this. He was mentioned in trade talk, I think it was last year or potentially the year before. Here's the problem. You've got $16 million per year wrapped up in Duchesne and Johansson, and you know Forsberg's got to make more than that. But for this to work, he's going to have to come in lower than Roman Josi at 9.059. And they got to figure this out probably by the deadline. I mean, they could keep him if there's really on both sides. But if you're still a Forsberg, you could go for the big head. Right.
He's a guy, so he's only played 39 games this season. Had he not only been in 39 games and missed some time, he's in the Rocket conversation. by the time the season's done, he might be. He's got 26 goals in 39 games. It's up. It's up. It's, well, I'll tell you what it is. It's an over 50 goal pace, is what it is. That's the sort of season he's having. How often are you able to go out and get a potential 50 goal scorer at the deadline? How often are you at the risk of losing a potential 50 goal scorer?
For a team that's performed quite well.
Yeah, like Bill Forsberg going makes no sense. But again, there are a few teams in the league whose reality is not the reality of a consistent cap team. And the Nashville Predators are one of them. You know, we sort of talked about who are we talking about in that regard? The Ducks. I can't remember. And so the Blues did this a few years ago when they were in a playoff spot and sold on Kevin Chapter. And a couple years later, you know, ended up working out and okay, you want to go. I wonder if the Preds, who are doing so well, have to pull the shoe here.
Or maybe you move one of the other contracts.
I mean, you can move one of the other contracts. You still need to sign the slip. Yeah, Forsberg's got all the leverage here. I think. Oh, never mind. I was about to say, I didn't even realize that they're in their division. No, they're not. Wild card is not a division. But they're wild cards. And it is now. But I mean, they're 2 points back in second in the division. And they're real good. They're real good. Phil Forsberg holds all the cards.
I just want to throw this in there as breaking news, or somewhat breaking, I guess. Jokerit, which is a Finnish hockey club in the KHL, has pulled out of the KHL playoffs. I think CJ said yesterday on TSN that Thin Air, which is one of their major sponsors, they weren't even sure if Thin Air would fly them into Russia, and some of their other major sponsors just pulled out completely. So they are done for the season, which is pretty crazy. I just wanted to throw that in there. Sorry about that. So back to the trade deadline for a second here. The Forsberg thing is interesting. The question I have, which I think a lot of people have about the Toronto Maple Leafs, is can you be the viable winner every year on the Nashville Predators with a $9 million center, an $8 million center, and another $8 million center?
Yes, if they're good.
Yes, if they're good. Well, what's Brian Johansson doing these days anyway?
So let me look it up, because I know they're having better seasons than expected.
Duchesne seems to be back on track a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Johansson's got 36 and 49. 36 points, 49 games.
Right. That's still an overpay, but it's good. And Duchesne, 46 points, 23 goals in 48 breaks. It's good.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah, a point a game player, $8 million, that's a good deal.
Like, $8 million, I mean, centers are so valuable. Like, Jesus, if I'm headed to this off season, then there's no way I'm making less than either of those guys. No way. Okay? No way. There's just no way. But Duchesne or maybe takers. But he's the good one. Right?
And he's throwing right wing this year, by the way. Granlund is the center.
Right.
So if you're a team, there's no reason to go out and get Duchesne now. Like, you can wait till the next 4 years of his contract. So I take a risk now on the Duchesne. Maybe this is his off year, and then it goes back down on the charts. Like, why trade for him when there's so much time left on his $8 million per year deal, and there's like 4 years left?
Well, if you want to win now, I need a guy like that.
That was for Johansson.
That can't be the guy.
This could be Johansson's one. You know what I mean? Like, this could be that's his career is from now on. Right. With his injury history and everything. And, you know, you root for him to be better than that. But, you know, you never know. People forget how gruesome his injury was. Like, wasn't it like an infection deep within his thigh? Yeah. Something that he suffered during the Stanley Cup final? Or that just before the Stanley Cup final? It was really bad. The kind of thing that will change it, you know? So it's kind of,
contract aside, maybe he's still in the league. But for that reason, that's why it's kind of hard to go out and get a guy like that. Baseball has done a good job filling in the margins. Absolutely. Remains one of the smartest DMs in the league. Yeah, and like, they never aren't in it. They never aren't in it. No matter what. Luke Cummins has been good for them. Jakob Trenin has been good for them. Philip Tomasino is a rookie who's only going to get better. Interested to see how they do Ellie Colvin, who was once the best player outside of the NHL. Isn't. Tanner Janot, they've done a good job. They've done a good job, and it bears repeating. I have no idea UC Sarvis has this in. You know how many games they've gotten their goalies not named UC Sarvis? And 2 of the Connor. That's it. Dave Riddick from 890. Connor Ingram was a 906 in the games he played. Sarvis in 43 games is a 924. Wow. They're also not in cap trouble. Like, you can leave all of those big contracts with many other contracts there and still add. Like, the National Predators have done a fantastic job with their cap.
Well, man,
It's amazing.
I think it gets better if he stays there.
Yeah. I'm curious about what your thoughts are on Jared McCann. He's already at a career high goals. He's got a high points too. Unrestricted free agency, but just went on the IR. So, I mean, obviously good job, but it's a big headline. But is that a guy that, I mean, listen, if you make a JT Miller, do not call the Seattle Kraken about McCann and you're there.
So, sorry, by the way, Jared McCann is Art,
Excuse me.
yeah, so that's... I mean, I think if I'm Ron Francis and I'm trying to build a team worth paying attention to, you can try Jared McCann out of my goaltend hands. But maybe you get a freebie as a result. You know, the Seattle Kraken still have projected cap space of just under 6.9. Nice. And ridiculous amount of roster spots. Well, that's the thing that's sort of come up in conversations. I believe CJ brought it up a bunch of times. Some teams are kind of close to the max amount of roster spots they can have, which is 50. Most teams are in the mid to high 40s. The Seattle Kraken have 30 kind of.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yes. So, to me, they're a prime candidate for ahoy hoy, feed us your garbage.
Yeah.
Yes. Are there any teams out there that are struggling to get underneath the cap? Please feed us your garbage. Bring us your trash. Bring out your net. Bring out your net. It is in a sentence because they can afford it in more ways than one, and they can still get what they want or wanted out of expansion, which is draft picks and cap room, because the garbage expires.
Right. And to answer your McCann question, Adam, if I'm the GM of the team, I don't move my 25-year-old leading scorer of the team that I have control of. And fair or not, I don't think it's the right move, Francis.
Yes, stupid. And what about
don't think that the lineup as it is can continue. Obviously, Nick Rockford was called up today. I think who was called up yesterday was like Christian Rubens and somebody else. And basically what they're doing when they do that is to fill out their cap space so they can maximize their LTIR space, which tells me they're working on something. Now, British this morning, in 32 Shots, kind of mentioned that they have called Dallas about John Klingberg. He threw out JT Miller as a possibility as well. We know that Vancouver, they have called Vancouver, but from what we've heard, it's been more Blue Shed related than JT Miller related. It would be amazing to get JT Miller, who, by the way, had 2 goals and 2 assists last night. Right, seven goals rubbing with Calgary. Yeah, G1. Yeah, what was that? Calgary with a 10-game winning streak snapped. It's insane. The highlights are crazy too. But the JT Miller thing seems like less of a possibility. I still feel like they want to mention. I think that you're because we didn't think that was Morgan Riley. Well, we didn't think that was possible like 2 weeks ago, and then nothing going out now opens up that possibility. So if Klingberg is now on the board, I think what else is, Klingberg plus something else that's smaller, it just opens up everything.
Who I put on thing called reckless theories. Nick Robertson called up today. Here's a couple ways to look at this. Number one, why are they going out and spending a fortune on JT Miller when they haven't even seen what they have here with Robertson?
Mickey Ball.
So he's about to get a big audition, and I got to imagine they're calling him up. They're not calling him up to play full play. They're calling him up late
In the AHL.
So he didn't have a good start, got injured, and he's come back, and he's been good.
Okay.
Been good. You call him up to put him with JT and Nylander, and not Kessel. Like, you give him a look on the third line. But I think he's there for a big role, because if you're going to go out and spend, you better do it knowing that you have no other options. So that's practical, fun, optimistic option. You want dumb chaos option? You know who plays for the Dallas Stars? Jason Robertson, Nick's brother. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How close done is Nick Robertson for John Klingberg?
But then Klingberg's up at the end of the year, so you're giving up Robertson.
Oh, I didn't say it was a good deal. Also, I didn't say that.
Klingberg is a great puck mover, but he brings you none of the things that you're missing with Jake Muzzin. You have Klingberg and developing Klingberg and Sandy. We'll see if he's better or worse than Klingberg, I don't know. Then you got Morgan Riley, who's a great puck mover as well. TJ Brody, underrated as a puck mover, really good. Yeah. You need snarl, you need toughness. I'm not really sure. Listen, it doesn't make them work. Klingberg's a great defenseman, but I don't know if it's what they need. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, okay, well, we got another guy who is devastating one end of the ice and flexible on the defensive end. I don't think they need more of that. That's an odd one.
I don't think saying Klingberg questionable at the defensive end is correct. Also, I like Sandin as a developing Klingberg as a great assessment of who he is. That's fun.
Yeah, he's got the patented high shots from the point, too. Jeff Merrick used to always hammer that home. Klingberg, when he fires it on, the puck is way up here. So friggin' shot. Sandy fell a little bit of that.
Put it down on the Tyson Berry, is that what you're saying?
No, that was low directly at the shin side.
Oh, right.
Or if you add Klingberg, it's good improvement on the team. Like, should that just be how we're looking at it? Like, if you add this piece, does the team get better? And I think it does.
Does it make them a stronger pair of scissors? Potentially even a pair of scissors that cut rough.
You know, like, does that help you with one more playoff game? Listen, I think having John Klingberg on your lineup does do that. And that's the lens I'm looking for.
I have to disagree with you, Jesse. John Klingberg is awful on defense. He's just not good. This is not what this team needs. And people are like, well, David Severson looks good. David Severson is the second coming of Dave Gardner. If you want that, fine. I like Dave Gardner too. But I don't think it's what they need. I mean, like, honestly, I mean, if the price for Sherrod was so high, like, Sherrod to me is worth like a 7th rounder. For some reason, everybody was, well, 50 person. first overall. I don't see that. That doesn't make sense to me. But you need somebody who's going to bring what Jake Muzzin didn't bring, because even with Jake Muzzin in the lineup, you needed more of what Jake Muzzin brought.
Yeah.
Like, Winger is objectively of the top 4 defensemen on Dallas. Studer, Heiskanen, Lindell, Klingberg. He is the worst by a mile. By a mile. He's spectacular on the power play, spectacular puck mover. Not the guy you need for the Leafs, who already play shaky defense on certain nights, except for last night.
Guys, my condition's acting up. What is it? My condition where, oh no, Mark Giordano. Where is Mark Giordano? Figure into this conversation. Oh, when are we gonna have a conversation about my Python?
I know somebody who's not playing too well this season. Like
Right,
that.
the play cheap. Oh.
That's what
By
I'm
the way,
figuring out Seattle.
he and Ron Francis had a call, I think, yesterday, and they are going to explore the trade market, which means he's getting traded.
Yeah. That's somebody you do right side. Is that not like?
Yes, it
You
is.
have Broncos you do right side, Mark Giordano. You send him out of there to a competitor. Like,
Yeah.
do that.
It's just kind of sucks that, like, they claimed him for no reason and made the captain for no reason, and then now they're trading their captain 40 games in. That sucks. Like, I'm telling you guys, they fucked up. They fucked that draft up. It was terrible. It was terrible.
I do think Seattle is an interesting team to look at if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. Calvin is, like, you know, I think we already said this point. He's obviously willing to get creative. And with an expansion team that is still very raw in a lot of ways, there's a lot of fun wiggle room there. And I gotta wonder what's going on. You know, like, just lesser things, like Nick Robertson's contract. His ball's trash. Is he gonna get waived?
No.
Is he gonna get traded? If he does sneak through waivers, do they put him in the minors? Because his contract is almost 100% variable. But is that what they need right now? They actually need to be closer to the cap in order to get the most benefit out of LTIR.
Yeah.
You know, there's the show.
That's been fine.
He's been fine, but someone's got to go. He got to get out of the line.
Nice. Yeah, it could be.
But
You dropped Herbert to the 4th line.
Kirk to the 3rd.
But yeah, well, that's what I think.
Third line last night, didn't I?
He did. At least he started there, and then, you know, as the game goes, the shuffling. But there's this great show, I don't know if you've heard of it, the Chris Johnson show. Where Chris Johnson talked about the Leafs being very active. And to me, that's not a one-move thing. That's not, do they got to get this guy or this guy? I think there's a lot of options where they go out and make 3 or 4 moves here.
This is the future in a Ford engine built for you. A future where you're the game changer. And the go-getter. Bring on the future and get this great offer on the 2022 Ford Edge. Only at your local Ford store.
I'm going to go out there and say it. I think I'm placing more importance on this potential trade target than most other NHL analysts and fans are. Today we're talking about Phil Kessel, Arizona Coyotes star winger, and I say that very loosely because I think everybody kind of knows that Phil Kessel is supposed to be a star winger. Like, I get it, he's 34 years old, he's no longer in the quote-unquote prime of his career, but Phil Kessel, to me, is still a pretty effective, pretty solid, pretty goal-scoring, playmaking type of guy, even though this season those overall labels kind of swept in a way, because if you take a look at Phil Kessel, we all kind of know the body of work he's had in the NHL throughout the past, like, decade and a half, pretty much. And a half? I don't know, actually, maybe just the past decade and a bit. There you go, that's a better way to put it. Ever since his days with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins, he was always seen as one of the more underrated stars in the National Hockey League. This was highlighted by 92 and 82 point campaigns with the Penguins to end off his tenure over there. And that was only like 4 years ago, so there was still a whole bunch of star power behind Phil Kessel's name in that time frame. His season in the Arizona Coyote system, though, has been a little bit more polarizing, to say the least. He kicked off his Arizona campaign with 38 points in 70 games, and then he bounced back with 43 points in 56 games the season after. He also scored 20 goals in that campaign, so if you do the math, over 82, 43 divvy 56 multiplied out by 82, he was on pace for 63 points, and do the goal production right here as well. Over the span of 82 games last season, Phil Kessel was on pace for roughly 30-ish goals. So that's kind of in the ballpark of what we're used to seeing with Phil Kessel. This season, though, he's taken a really interesting turn in his production. 33 points, 52 games played, but only 6 of those points are goals. He's on pace for 9 goals and 43 assists. Now, while this set of numbers still is not as good as anything he's accomplished in Pittsburgh or in Toronto over the span of 82 games, Phil Kessel is still a guy that has himself a whole bunch of skill and scoring ability and playmaking ability. We've really seen that playmaking ability come to life in this year's NHL play. It's very funny to me how Phil Kessel only has 6 goals and he's on pace for 9. Like, that is so uncharacteristic of Phil Kessel that it's almost got me thinking, okay, what the heck is wrong? Like, he's still producing points, he's still there, he is still a scoring option, but how the heck does Phil Kessel only have 6 goals in 52 games this season? There are a lot of guys in the NHL that just haven't been finding ways to put in the back of the net. Another one that comes to mind is Jakub Voracek in Columbus. He's only got like 2 goals on the season, so go figure. Either way, though, Phil Kessel is a trade chip on the market. The reason for that is because he expired in 2022, making $8 million a season. Now, that cap hit is actually $6.8 million a year because Toronto retained salary when they traded him all those years ago, and you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? We've said this entire spiel about Kessel in previous videos, but this is our update if you want to go over here. Let's move on to GoPhoenix.com. Actually, it's GoPHNX.com. NHL Trade Deadline Primer, which Coyotes could be departing, published by Craig Morgan on February 22nd, 22. So there you go, that's 2/22/2022 Tuesday. Hopefully it will be published at 2:22 p.m. But this article is indeed behind the paywall, so we're not going to go ahead and screenshot anything in this article. Instead, we're going over Untitled Chapter from yesterday, February 26th, because what Lyle Richardson did was he summarized this entire article, and it pretty much goes over the price of Phil Kessel, and this pretty much highlights, why I think this is an interesting thing to talk about. So, the article on GoPhoenix.com talks about which Arizona Coyotes pieces are tradable, etc. Jacob Chitrin, who we've talked about over here, the retirement tradition with him and his cap is all discussed. But Craig Morgan also said the Coyotes' asking price for Phil Kessel is a second-round pick, but that offer hasn't materialized. They might have to settle for a third-rounder for the pending UFA winner. And I know what you're thinking. Like, what the heck are you doing, man? Why are you making a 10-minute video about Phil Kessel and the asking price being a second-round pick, if not a third-round pick, because they're not going to be able to get a second-round pick? It really got me thinking, okay, what exactly do big-name, big-scoring free agents to be go for on the market? Regular playoff rentals. How is it that guys like Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman go out there and get first-round picks because their skill set in the bottom of your lineup is so valuable and you want those grindy, two-way efficient, penalty-killing guys? But players like Phil Kessel go out there and get seconds and thirds? I get it. There's a reputation of Phil Kessel being a one-dimensional player sometimes. You know, everybody likes to talk about Phil Kessel and the hot dogs and all that stuff. Like, the Toronto fan base and media was so ruthless to Phil Kessel that there's so much more of a meme status that has built itself up around this player, and a lot of that has to do with the way this guy has been treated. But to me, I still see Phil Kessel and I say, I mean, this guy's not really doing all too well in terms of the goal department, but he did get 20 goals last year in a shortened season. He was still on pace for about 30 goals, and we all kind of know that Phil Kessel, when it comes to what he does best, it's scoring goals on the...
They say all good things must come to an end. And there it was, the inevitable client handle.
I guess that's it. It's Diane. That's your please. It's been a hell of a ride. Here it is.
Rush. It's that patented wrist shot that he has. He pushes with the right hand and he pulls with the left hand, and he snaps that twig so well that it's netted him so many goals over the past few years. It's just this year it's not really going in. But his playmaking and assist... for an option to me. And as long as Arizona's willing to go out there and make a retaining salary on this guy, I think there's probably good in the market that says, okay, maybe we can go out there and actually go ahead of these asking price, because a second round pick for the caliber of talent that Phil Kessel is, to me that's just like really out of whack, especially if there's no team. Wow, dude, like, I didn't realize Arizona went out there and devalued players so much that big money names like Phil Kessel are only on the market for seconds and thirds. Like, I start to think about other trades, other big star players that maybe have been declining a little bit in their time in Arizona, specifically Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall was seen as a very big star, and everybody knew what Taylor Hall could do. He was a hard winner with New Jersey, and all the trade speculation and all that was pretty big for him, and it's why when he got traded eventually to the Arizona Coyotes,